Immensely thankful to you for being part of our today's program. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. D. Muruganandam Garu, another speaker of today's program, is my good friend who is a dynamic professor from Bharatiyar University, Tamil Nadu. I have almost a decade of association with Dr. Muruganandam Garu. Really, it is a proud privilege for all of us to listen to a wonderful lecture of Muruganandam sir, who will provide us deep insights in today's topic. Sir will join in the second session of the program. Coming to the today's topic, impact of COVID on business. As we all know, in the past 9 months, COVID-19 pandemic has brought countries to a complete standstill, reimagined normal living patterns, and pushed the global economy into one of its worst recessions of recent times. This changed the orientation and has adversely affected the global economy with uncertainty about future conditions worsening the situation. Indian businesses have also suffered the consequences of poor consumer demand, supply fluctuations, and lockdown restrictions, with them having a further walk on the tightrope of restoring their production systems. The impact of coronavirus is seen in all sections of the society. Social distancing and face masks become the mainstay of our daily lives. Governments announced lockdowns, transport services are closed, the functioning of all public and private offices are closed, factories are shut down, and the lockdown has adversely affected service sectors also, like banks, restaurants, and entertainment industry, food vendors, and food delivery products. Orders on Swiggy and Zomato have dropped 60% of their business amid the pandemic. We have seen thousands of migrant workers making their journey back to their homes, captured the fear, distress, and anxiety in the earlier weeks of lockdown. It is estimated that there is a job loss of 40 million people in the country, mostly in the unorganized sector. During the lockdown, approximately 71.3% of the businesses dealt with reduced cash flows, with the manufacturing sector being the worst hit in the country. Lifestyle categories sales witnessed a drop between 15 to 30% with an increase in consumer price sensitivity. The ultimate effects of the pandemic are substantial and sharp rise in unemployment, reduced consumer activity, reduced demand for consumer products, stress on supply chains, decrease in government income, collapse of the industry. So, despite the adverse effects of the pandemic, some sectors have seen emerging opportunities like digital technology, financial services, communication technology, healthcare products, medical equipment, and pharmaceuticals. The COVID-19 crisis is unprecedented. The speed with which it has spread and its effects on families in daily life have led to a deep sense of fear, anxiety, and confusion. Consumer sentiments and behavior changed. Consumers started adjusting to realities. Spending priorities, spending patterns are changed. Some items like groceries, household products, home entertainment has seen consistent increase in this pandemic. And there is a shift to the online shopping system these days. And media usage is also changed with more consumers at home. So, in view of these unprecedented changes, what companies need to do? What is the plan for the recovery? How to get ahead of the normal? These are the questions posed to the business community. I hope today's webinar will enrich and enlighten the participant in the current issue. Of course, government in the has taken initiative measures to mitigate the impact of the pandemic. Only yesterday, Finance Minister was also addressing the nation, announcing the package on of 3.0. So, in spite of that, whether there are certain questions, serious questions which arise, whether these initiatives or measures or whatever the packages that government is announcing are going to help the business sections of the society or not. So this we are going to see. I hope the today's webinar is going to address these issues and enlighten the participants. Thank you very much, sir. Now, I would like to request our beloved principals and chairperson of the webinar, Sri K.S. Ratnaprasad Garu, to give his opening remarks. Thank you, sir. Over to Ratnaprasad, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, and warm welcome to all the participants on behalf of the staff and students of SRNB Junior College. Thank you, resource persons, for accepting our invitation and guiding us all these matters. First and foremost, I would like to thank the Faculty of Commerce and Management of SRNB Junior College for organizing such a topic of relevance today. The pandemic has taught us a lesson for everyone, each and everyone. Man cannot win over nature. Always nature dominates man. That's the lesson we have to learn. And at the same time, human beings should do away with ego and all that, and you have to start loving fellow human beings. There is a saying in one scripture, love thy neighbor as thyself, because the life here, the pandemic has taught us, is very transient, temporary. So we have to rest upon God, and we have to believe mankind. With these remarks, I welcome all the participants once again, and also thanking the Faculty of Commerce and management of SRNB Junior for hosting such a wonderful, relevant topic of the day. Thank you, one and all. May I request Dr. Naraswamy Garu, HOD of the Faculty of Commerce, to take over. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Now I request Ramesh Garu, Assistant Professor of Commerce, Department of Commerce, to introduce today's guest, Dr. Patrick Garu. Over to Ramesh, sir.
Good morning, dear friends. I feel privileged to introduce to you our first resource person of the day, Dr. A. Patrick Garu. He has done MCOM, MBA, PhD, and he has qualified in NET in Commerce and Management. He has finished his Bachelor of Christian Studies from Serampore University, West Bengal. Presently, he is working as Assistant Professor, Senior Grade in the Department of Commerce, Usmania University College of Commerce and Business Management, that is situated in Hyderabad. He has been working there since June 2007, and in his tenure till now he served as Additional Controller of Examinations for BCom course during the period of 2009 to 2011. Now he is serving as Joint Director, Directorate of Admissions, Usmania University, and Vice Principal, Hostels at University College of Commerce and Business Management. He has more than 22 years of teaching experience at postgraduate level. He has provided contents for 8 modules for MOOC courses on critical thinking, analytical skills, learning for the online refresher course in skills for new educational architecture, skill development at National Resource Center, Sanch Gadge, Daba, Amaravati University, Amaravati, Maharashtra, under annual refresher program in teaching category through Swayam platform. His video lectures are also available on YouTube. He is a regular resource person for live teleconference programs for Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University, Hyderabad. And prior to this regular appointment in the university, he has served as an associate professor at Bhadrika College of Postgraduate Center, Kachiguda, Hyderabad for more than 8 years. He also served for 2 years at Arba Minch University, Ethiopia, East Africa, under the United Nations Development Project as a lecturer in the Department of Management, Faculty of Business and Economics during 2003 to 2005. He is a corporate trainer and resource person at National Academy of Telecom and Financial Management, Gachibowli, Andhra Bank Staff College, Hyderabad, Usmania University Staff College, Center for Excellence of Institute of Chartered Accountants, Gachibowli, Engineering Staff College of India, Gachibowli. And empaneled, he is an empaneled member of NSIC, National Small Scale Industries Corporation, as resource person. He is a guest faculty at NIFT for critical thinking. He is a guest faculty and resource person for National Institute of Rural Development, Rajendra Nagar, and his main subjects are managerial accounting and financial management. He is a corporate faculty for Symbiosis University, Pune, IGNOU, New Delhi. He attended Advanced Leadership Program for 1 month at Chiang Mai, Thailand by Haggai Institute, USA. He has attended several national and international seminars and presented papers. And he has written a book on CRM, a didactic exploration in select banks, which was published in Germany by publishers. And he has authored books in the area of business organization, management, quantitative techniques, statistics. And the Institute of Practical Accountancy, Hyderabad, conferred the IPA Best Commerce Faculty Award for 2009. His areas of interests are accounting, marketing, strategic management, quantitative techniques, and soft skills. 3 students have completed their PhD under his guidance, and 6 more are currently pursuing under his guidance. So with this brief introduction, I welcome you, sir, and we are quite fortunate to have you today as our resource person. Thank you very much, sir, and welcome you once again, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Do we begin, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I think Ramesh sir said it was a brief profile, but I believe it was a very lengthy profile. Next time I got to be careful to cut short on the contents that is there. And in fact, he has gone about with preparing a PPT and did a slideshow with whatever things that I had mentioned. And it was not very far off. I think it's a few weeks back, I've seen Ramesh sir doing his presentation at the Department of Commerce of his research design. I think he's doing in the area of insurance and making a comparative study of LIC and other things, if I'm not mistaken. So he's a scholar from our department there. I'm really delighted to get an opportunity to talk on behalf of SR and BGNR Government Arts and Science College, Khammam, Telangana. And I think my job was done or made much easier by our HOD, that is Dr. S. Narayanaswamy Garu, who had gone about with giving an elaborate details of what are the things that have happened as a consequence of the COVID-19 or the coronavirus, whatever is affected across the globe there. He said, what are all the areas that have been affected? And he has also covered about things which the government has taken initiatives. It's still going on, right? And what are the things which the businesses are planning to do? And as teachers, what is our role? I mean, how do we go about with guiding? And I would tell it this way before even I get into details. They say those who can, they do. Those who can't, they teach. That's a very old saying. But I would tell you, those who can, they teach. Those who can't teach, go to other professions. Teaching is the profession which goes about with making all of the professions across the globe there. And they look for us being more proactive, come out with ideas, mold students, make them ready for the future, get them industry ready. It all depends upon the teachers there. I thank Narayan Swami sir for setting the tone for this entire program around. And also thank, it was crisp, normally I come across programs where I don't use the word hijack, but principals normally make their presence felt by talking about the topic at length. And KSS Ratna Prasad sir Garu, I think he spoke crisply, but two things that he had gone about saying. One is man cannot win over nature, very true. And it is believed that we think that we can dominate everything there, but I think nature had gone about with having an humbling effect on us. And I love this, what he has said there. I mean, I recently was speaking on ethics and research and other things there. And I come across a book of John C. Maxwell, where he says there is nothing called as business ethics. People, for their convenience, have called it as morals, business ethics, personal ethics, professional ethics, and other things there. He said there is a golden rule where he has studied all the religions across the globe. And in a nutshell, he says, do unto others what you expect others to do to you. So, he has gone about with summarizing it very beautifully, where he said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. He has surely quoted the biblical verse in that there, when Christ was asked, what are the two commands that are there? And this is something considered to be the most important commandment, that is to love thy neighbor. It's very difficult, easier said than put into practice there. And thanks a lot, Ramesh sir, for initiating this entire process. And thanks to Narayan Swami sir for
Thank you, sir.
recalling that entrepreneurship development program that we had at OU. And my greetings to all the friends from Tamil Nadu as well as from Telangana. Especially, we have our co-speaker from Bhartiyar University, Dr. Muruganandam sir. I'm eagerly waiting to listen to him. And another coincidence that had happened to me with my association with this program with SR and BGNR Government Arts and Science College from Kammam is, I mean, there was a renewal of friendship with a person whom I know for the past 24 years, but we were separated. Now I'm recalling my good friend from the Department of Zoology, Assistant Professor Dr. Ravi Shankar. I remember we both have represented Usman University with a bunch of students in the All India South Zone Youth Festival. I remember Ravi being a very good artist. He used to paint a lot, and I was into debate, elocution, and quiz representing OU. And when he sprang up some photographs of Bangalore, I think I became 24 years younger. So nice to meet my friend Ravi Shankar, who's from zoology from the same college there. A lot of my other students, friends who are there in this webinar today. And I got to go about with saying it's been upbeat mood, in the sense that in the recent past, it's very difficult to muster so many people coming for webinars. There's been an overkill. Many people doing it repeatedly there, but I think the efforts of this college would be really fruitful. And I also have to go about with acknowledging the presence of my other friends that are there, Misala Malareddy, Balchandram, Ravinder Nayak, and a lot of other people that are there. So one of the persons that put it in the chat, to the friends from Tamil Nadu, he said it is Vanakkam, and to the friends that are from Telangana and Andhra, or from the Telugu speaking states, he said it is Shubhodaya. I think I would tell it that. And with all these things that have been set tone for me to go about with sharing what I should be doing there, I think Hyderabad has recently witnessed what is called as a triple whammy. Now, what people go about with looking at double whammy and other things there, which had happened with COVID-19 and unemployment, I think recent floods and incessant rains had gone about with acting as a bigger dampener. We all know that today we are celebrating a festival of Dhanteras, Diwali, the festival of lights and other things there. I mean, there are efforts being made to make people to go about with spending. I think the larger community here is to do with commerce and business management there. Now, we always talk about what is called the working capital cycle. There's something called as finished goods. Now, that should be sold. The money that you realize, you'll be investing it into what is called as raw material. Now, once you set into, the process, we call it the work in process. And again, it got to get converted into finished goods. But because of the COVID-19, people losing jobs, people lacking money with them, what had happened is they were not in a position to buy. The stocks are remaining the way they are. There are certain areas the stocks are going really well, maybe with mobile phones, laptops, and some other gadgets are doing well because parents are forced to shell out money for the online classes and various other things that are there. Tech entrepreneurs are making a big kill There's a lot of these platforms which have become very famous. Before the pandemic, no one ever bothered about online meetings and other things that the tech entrepreneurs had gone about. Even the education sector is getting commercialized very badly, I would tell that. I mean, we teachers will have to go about with responding. They know the lacunae that is existing, and it is up to us teachers to go about it, getting ourselves equipped so that we deliver the right kind of contents and we go about with reaching the student community in a better way, and we are able to go about with bridging the gap that exists between theory and practice in a way that it's not going to be just a mere replacement or a substitute from an offline class to an online class where I run a PPT or I just go about with sharing the same things there. The biggest challenge that we have as a teaching community today is more about how do you engage students in the class. I really love that person from Tamil Nadu who had gone about with making those cartoons and videos about Mrs. Janaki, where he says about there are students who put their audio off and video on, there's some who put video on and audio off, and there is that Padhu's uh, child who goes about putting both of them off. I think we get a lot of students of that kind. Today, I can see a lot of those things, for reasons. Even I had to seek permission from the organizers. Please unmute my audio and video, kind of a thing. There, it is discipline, which is mandatory when it comes for these things. It is net etiquettes, I would tell, when it comes with attending webinars and training programs, which come in. So we have a lot of onus as teachers there, and we are called as people who go about with guiding the society, and we would look into these kind of things around. And I thought I could make a small presentation within the time that is given to me by the organizers. I just got to wait. Yeah, I think I got my PowerPoint working. I believe it's visible to all. Somebody like Ramesh sir or Narayan sir,
Yes,
will you
sir. Yes, sir.
confirm?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
It's clearly visible, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think I had the organizers, Narayan Swami sir and Ramesh sir, asking me, what do I wish to speak on? And when it comes to webinars, there are a lot of repeat, I don't say customers, but I would say repeat participants. Forgive me for that word that I've used there. Now that's with commercialization, I think that is what is happening today to education as well. But the thing is, we talk about the COVID-19 crisis. I think they did a wonderful job at dividing my role to speak on issues and challenges in business. And we had our teacher from Bharatiya Dasan University, that is Professor Muruganandam sir, that's something to do with godly name there. Now, he would be focusing more on the micro, small, and medium enterprises. I think it would be really wonderful things that you can go about with learning and conveying it to the students back. Now, this is the poster that I got from them. I think all of you all are familiar joining into the WhatsApp groups that were being created. It was full. I tried getting admitted in one. It said it's already full, and another group was created. In fact, so nice. Now let me go one by one. First things first. Like I'm trying to dissect the topic that is given to me. My friend Ravi Shankar will understand the word dissection very well because he comes from zoology background. Even I did my +2 with BIPC at Little Flat Junior College there. So I'm talking about issues and challenges first. So challenge may be something which is very daunting, very burdensome, and its outcome is uncertain. Nobody knows what would lay in future. But nevertheless, it must be faced and it must be dealt with. You must address that. And an issue, on another hand, if you go about it looking at, it may not qualify to be as challenging or as big as daunting the way the word challenges, but it needs to be addressed, and if there is to be a chance for a good outcome. So this is the thing we are trying to figure out as to what are the major challenges, and as a consequence of it, there are a lot of issues that we have to go about with trying to tackle. Going one by one. The next thing is, I thought there is another word which is to do with the word business. I mean, there are friends from the economics department as well, I feel. They usually talk about definition. I would call it lousy, where they say the state of being busy is business. But I'm trying to get back to say that whatever was said by some of the people in 1970s, 50 years back or something, is still relevant today. In 1970s, we had this father of modern management, that is Peter F. Drucker, who published this definition of what is business in his book, where he said about it's all about tasks. I think I'm getting this thing. Okay. Okay, let me just get on. It's said about tasks, it's said about responsibilities, he speaks about practices. So business is said to be a social group that differs from all the other social group in one way or the other. And as an institute, as a college, I may have all the infrastructure, the best of teachers, but if I don't have a single student, it can't be called as an educational institute. Very much like that, people may talk about land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. People may talk about product, price, place, promotion, people, process, physical evidence, and productivity. But if there is no single customer, it doesn't constitute a business. So what is most important is customer. So there is only one valid definition of a business purpose, and that is to create a customer. In fact, I really love what Drucker says. Business is all about creating a customer, satisfying a customer, and retaining a customer. Now, if Drucker himself would have been alive, I don't think he would have used the word satisfaction, because satisfaction is when you match the expectations of the customer. When you meet the expectations of the customer, he's satisfied. When you fall below the expectations of the customer, he or she is dissatisfied. But the present businesses run, at least before the pandemic, and it is to be revived again, is you run on a principle what is called as of exceeding the expectations of the customer, and that is what is called as the delight principle. You create a wow factor. The customer is taken by a surprise. So that is what is important. And it's said that because of this purpose is to create a customer, and retaining is very important. That is what people talk about CRM. People are busy creating customers, but they forget to hold on to the existing customers. You got to ensure that your customers don't end up becoming your competitors' customers. So what do you do? What kind of strategies do you employ to create that sense of loyalty, trust? That is what is the core of customer relationship management, where we talk about upselling, we talk about cross-selling, a lot of things that we do to ensure that people are retained with us and they don't end up going to the competitor then. So this purpose of creating the customer, the business enterprises have two basic functions, is what Drucker says. Not everybody would appreciate that, but he says it's about marketing, and the other one is to do with innovation. And it is not just innovation for the sake of innovation there. It must be productive. It should produce results. The rest are costs. That is what he says. Everything else you do is cost. The two most important elements of any business is to do with marketing and innovation. And he says it is the customer who determines what a business is. The customer is said to be the foundation of business, and it keeps it into existence. So the customer is not there, business don't exist. He's the one who goes about providing what is called as employment. That's very essential. And I think it's time for us, post-pandemic, that we start redefining, or the way Michael Hammer puts it, where he calls it as business process re-engineering. We all hear the word engineering, we all hear the word reverse engineering, but business process re-engineering, wherein we have to re-question as to what business are we, who are our customers, are we into the right business, who are our competitors. We need to rework our strategies altogether. And this is the simple thing that you have of any business. Like you go about with business, it gives you goods and services or products and services, it gets back money. But who defines what a business is? The customer. I like this graphic view. And he says that people still ignore this part of it, that you got to be customer centric if you're not there. And I like this headline that says the only purpose of business is to create customers and retain the existing customers. That is also important there. And further, if you look at it, some examples which were being done, there's another person who spoke about marketing myopia. That is Theodore Levitt in 1981, where he said marketing is concerned with getting and keeping customers, getting new customers and retaining the existing customers. And Peter F. Drucker said companies are not into business to make items, but to make customers. You have a product and there is no need and there's no customer. Now, the reason why you created that product itself is questioned. So the purpose of business is getting and keeping customers, getting and keeping. Look at the similarity between what Theodore Levitt has mentioned and what Drucker also has said. It says the purpose of business is getting and keeping. You retain your existing customers. You don't lose them. And then I think this is a word which we have heard it quite often in most of the webinars or seminars related with commerce and management in the recent past. Now, this was something which was christened during the time of World War. Not World War, but the Cold War, I would tell it. I mean, as a student of social studies in my school, or when I was teaching to a school when I was doing my masters as well, we have heard about the Russian bloc, that is USSR, and the other one is to do with the American bloc. And India had always played it diplomatically, talking about non-aligned movement, and we didn't join either the Russian bloc or the American bloc. And what you go about with witnessing is uh, the Russian bloc, that is the USSR, had broken. It had created Commonwealth of Independent States. So you had Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Ukraine, a lot of countries were being created. It was at that time that in the US Army, they went about with developing a word where they said in 1987, the future is going to be something of this kind. And this word during the 90s become a part of most of the textbooks of management and commerce, where they were talking about what strategies and other things are. And especially during 90s and pandemic period, people started to talk a lot. But I had got into another thing wherein they say there is a new version of this VUCA. I mean, the older version of VUCA is this, where it says V is for volatility, U is for uncertain, C is for complex, and A is for being ambiguous, ambiguity. Now, what exactly does it mean is you need quick actions needed to events, because most of the things are beyond your control. Nothing seems to be under your control, where we say the situation is volatile. Now, we all take decisions. The decision I take now, I see the results of the consequences of it in future. The decisions I take now is based on my past experiences. But when I have to take a decision now where I don't have any past experience to guide me, then I call it as something to do with uncertain. I've not seen it. Nobody has done it before me. Probably I'm doing a pioneering act for the very first time. So when things are not under my control, things can't be predicted. How do I take a decision? Now that is what is happening with the present pandemic as well. Then things look very complex, things look very complicated, and that makes the decision making a lot more difficult. And the same thing can be interpreted in more than one way. You talk about ambiguity. There is no certainty of the outcome. There's no thing like guarantee or surety with which you go about with acting on things there. And further, I love this word, which is to do with you lead. I mean, especially when it comes to the leaders who are considered to be successful, you lead with what is called as a new VUCA. And this is to do with, you got to replace the word volatility with vision. You got to see 10 to 15 years in advance. Now look at what this pandemic done. It has exposed our healthcare system. We were shown that you're very weak at that. You may talk about your urban cities, you may talk about IT and a lot of other things there. When it comes to healthcare, I think we were very bad. And another thing, we lacked in the way some of the countries have done a very beautiful screening mechanism at the airports. That was the entry point of this virus. And at that stage, if we had gone about with paying more caution, I don't think we would have seen the devastating effect of this today. People traveled by air were given a lot of care. But there was one thing which Narayan Swami sir said is about the migrants. Now these guys had to pay the price for the people I say. I mean, you call me any name that you want. But the thing is, we need to go about with spending more time and understanding things. Whatever confusion that we have, that is to be overcome by clarity. And today, when I teach my students production operations management and other things there, I talk about the word agile. You got to be quick. The way you react, by the time you react, things would have gone. So the thing is, the pace with which you act for whatever opportunities you get or problems that you face there, you got to be agile. And what sir has rightly said, yes, you have masks, you have sanitizers, social distancing, physical distancing. That has become a new norm, and we are slowly getting adapted to it. So I wish that you spend a little more time and learn more about what is this old and new VUCA all about in trying to tackle the pandemic situation. Now, I would just get with a few slides. Identifying problems anybody can do, but the thing is, we got to be a part of the solution and not part of the problem. Now, you look at it, it has caused what is called as an unparalleled blow to our economy. And it has forced 1.3 billion people to stay indoors. Nationwide lockdown was imposed. Now we are talking about unlockdown 1, 2, 3. Slowly we are talking about schools to be open, colleges to be open. And again, we see big numbers, 58,000 teachers, 87,000 teachers. Students or something getting infected with pandemic that wherever schools have started. So the lockdown restrictions were imposed without much preparation, and there was lack of coordination from the states. Now that is what was visible when it had come to what is called as the migrant workers at the receiving end. And I've seen some states, though they belong, they said, no, don't come. You will come here and become a super spreader kind of a thing. Providing proper quarantine or sanitation and other things was lacking. And it has also forced the most stringent lockdowns what our country has witnessed. And when you look at the rest of India, it's believed that 2.9 trillion economy remained shattered during that lockdown period of months together. And economic activities had come to a grinding halt. And lockdown had a devastating impact on the economy. People blame a lot for act of God and other things. But if people reflect upon what had happened in the past, it has actually gone about with exposing some of the weaknesses that was crept into our economic system. Slowly there was a slowdown, demand was an issue, many industries were not working good, and the pandemic has surmounted the problems to another level. So that is what has happened there. And for the Indian economy, private consumption investments are considered to be two biggest engines of growth, two biggest engines. But during the first quarter 2020, private consumption accounting to 59% of the India GDP declined by 27%. And investments from private businesses fell by 47%. So India's net exports turned positive due to sharp compression in imports. You were not having things coming from other countries. And during the quarter, government spending increased by 16, but it was not adequate to compensate for the decline, which was to do with the other engines of growth, which on this the economy of the country depends on. Now, except for agriculture, possibly because of good rains this year, all the other major sectors were badly hit. One more thing is education. Though the students were at loss, but entrepreneurs coming at bit level, apps coming up, people talking about Byju's, Topper, demand for laptops, tabs, mobile phones, smartphones, all these things were there. And labor-intensive sectors such as construction, real estate, retail trade, transport, manufacturing, they all went about with shrinking very badly. And further, if you look at it, there are a few indicators in the recent past, like it could be to do with the way people are consuming power. If you look at during pandemic and now, or even petrol and other things, I said we are getting back. And look at people traveling through that thing. I had been going with my friends in the recent past. They talk about that when you cross, I'm not getting that word, where you talk about getting your vehicles moving from one municipal limit to the other. The cars have to get that permits and go on. So from January, you're going to get mandatory. E-way bills is one of the signs. Now, we all expected that there has been a very sharp decline in our economy. We'll have a very sharp rise. People said about different shapes of the economic curve, but I think the V curve had not happened. The U curve is what is existing. We're not sure as to what would be in store for the future. And the current scenario, it's very hard to predict what kind of economic activity could return to the pre-virus levels there. Nobody liked 2020. In fact, 2020 is considered to be a normal vision. People spoke a lot of lofty things about it. But I think when it had come, people say, I think we need to delete this year from our memory. It's something which is virus ridden. Now, capital shortages, I like this word, what was said is scissors effect, kattara. Now, India, like the rest of the world, is facing what is called an acute scissors effect by decreasing tax revenues and what is called as the subdued economic activities and rising expenditure due to higher demand, especially for the health and protection